welcome back, Lions fans. We are here with another week of Lions Basement Banter. Obviously, we are back in the swing of football. So, we've got some games happening this coming weekend. Thursday, we're going to have a little bit of the first kickoff game of the season with the Chiefs playing the Ravens. But we'll focus more on what's going to be happening Sunday evening when the Lions host the Los Angeles Rams for the sequel of the Matthew Stafford's return to Ford Field.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited for that. I actually was seeing on X this morning, a lot of people are calling for like the blackout jerseys, which I don't think happens first game. Maybe it does, but I threw out, well, at least maybe just the blueberries, and it was funny because someone said, "Yeah, no, this is the Rams' funeral. Let's bury him. We're wearing all black." So I thought that was pretty funny.
That is
Yeah.
funny. I would not expect them to be wearing all blacks. It's going to
No,
be
I
their
don't think
home
so.
jerseys. They're going to want to show those off week one with what's going to be usually worn in Ford Field is what they're going to do.
Right.
I would expect to see those somewhere down the line. Probably I would shoot for week 4
Yeah,
against the Seahawks,
Monday Night
Night
Football.
Football.
Yeah,
I think that's when we'll see those come out the
that'll
first
be an
time.
awesome birthday gift for me to see those roll out. So.
You wish you could
I
see them
got I
in
got to keep
person though.
I got to keep throwing it out there just in case somebody's like, oh, he really deserves a birthday present. We'll give him some tickets. So from now until week 4, be prepared for that. So
Yeah. So without further ado, I think we just kind of jump into a little preview on Lions Rams week 1. We'll start with just kind of some keys to the game, what we think is going to be the factors that are either going to lead the Lions to a win or lead to a loss, and let's hope we don't even have to discuss that second part.
right, yeah, let's try not to worry too much about that at all.
So I
But
think we just kind of feed off each other. Do you have? I think here I'll start.
yeah, go ahead.
Because I
Yeah,
have one,
no,
and I
you're
think
good.
it's the most
And
important
then
one.
it'll probably be my most important one too. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we can discuss. We'll just kind of feed off each other there.
Yep.
But so I think first off, the key to this game is going to be the trenches. It's going to be the be all end all of this game. We're going to see. Start with the Rams side before I get to anything Lions. We're going to see what that defensive line looks like without Aaron Donald.
That's one of the big ones. Yep.
Pushing up the middle. They've still got a lot of young, talented pieces. They've got Jared Verse that they drafted out of Florida State coming off the edge. Think is the other one's name Byron Young? Is that the other guy? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but while you look that up, I will just throw out there they did end up making a trade at linebacker, so their linebacker room is really, really rough right now. So I mean, I know you're talking trenches and we're talking offensive, defensive line, but those linebackers do get in there, and that does count a little bit for that. And I think our linebacker group is a lot stronger than theirs is. We have to kind of see what Jared Verse looks like there on the line, playing at edge, like you said, and we also don't know if or what we'll see out of DJ Reader this first game too. So
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
no, that's
slipped up.
cool. Just filling gaps.
No, Byron Young was not one I was thinking of. It was Kobe Turner. So they've got Kobe Turner, who was a dark horse candidate for defensive player or defensive rookie of the year last year. They've also got Braden Fisk, who they invested in the
Yep.
second round, I believe, from Florida State as well. So they really went deep on Florida State, getting Verse and Fisk.
Two guys that I think both of you and I both had go into the Lions in mock drafts at one point or another.
Yeah,
So,
I wasn't as high on Jared Verse. I think
okay.
he would have been good to get at the end of the first round. I don't know if I would have reached up that far to get him. I'm
Yeah.
sure they took him where they wanted him, but Fisk was the one that I was really high on. He showed unreal athleticism at the combine, and he just looked really good as a speed rusher in the interior of the defensive line. So that's probably who they're going to turn to kind of maybe develop into that Aaron Donald type role down the road. But it's regardless, it's a lot of
Good luck filling those shoes.
Yeah, it's a lot of youth on Los Angeles defensive front. It's going to be um, to the key for them is going to be can they stand up to the best offensive line in the National Football League. We heard
Most definitely.
Yeah, we heard Taylor Decker today. Actually talked. Well, maybe not heard, but I was looking through Justin Rogers' stuff on the recaps of some of the press conferences, and Taylor Decker did get up and talk to the media, and he talked about preparing for taking on Jared Verse week 1. Said it's probably the first time he can remember in recent memory where he's had to go back to college tape to evaluate a player.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just like that's funny.
So
That's funny.
he's been preparing for the challenge of taking him on. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be that big of a challenge for him. You when you get young guys, they're either boom or bust typically early on. And Jared Verse wasn't like this freak athlete, that we were all toting as like a top 5 guy. I don't think he's going to come set the world on fire like a Micah Parsons.
No, he's going to need some time. I think he's going to be a good NFLer, but
Oh
I
yeah.
just think it's going to take some time. It's not going to be a week one absolutely blow the doors off this thing. I do want to stay on this Taylor Decker thing for 2 reasons. First of all, you're talking youth, um, and he's talking about going back to college tape. One thing I do want to say is don't discount the fact that they are youthful, because we are obviously hoping that youth pays off for us as well. Obviously, in the defensive secondary is one of the very big ones. We're hoping youth pays off, as well as if you look at our offense. I mean, I'm not going to go too far into that because we're not there yet. But the youth is there. We got some second year players and stuff that we're counting on, and even some first year players, possibly like Sione Vaki and some other guys. So, yeah, let's not. I mean, we just got to be careful. We don't discredit the hoping and putting our faith in first year guys, because we have to do it, and we did it last year and it got us pretty far. So um, I agree with you though with the trenches. Let's stay there. The second thing I had was it was really awesome to hear Decker say on Davenport. I don't know if you heard that or saw that portion, but he mentioned that he didn't really get much reps with Davenport on the other side because he was hurt most of camp. But he said he thinks that Davenport might have the best bull rush he's ever gone up against, which is if healthy is very 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 good to hear, very promising. So I just kind of piggyback off that same sentiment, I guess.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna stay on the Rams because I think we need to just kind of highlight the unknowns. We all kind of know what the Lions are, and we'll talk about them. But I think we need to get to highlight the opponent a little bit.
hmm
Kobe Turner last year 9 sacks, led the rookie leaderboards. He does play primarily on the interior, so you're gonna have Fisk and Kobe Turner lining up on the interior to deal with, and then Jared Verse on the outside. I think the onus is. I'm not worried about Panay Sewell and Taylor Decker dealing with the guys on the
no
outside.
way.
Jared Verse is inexperienced, and I would say Taylor Decker is probably. And this isn't even a knock. He's the weaker of the 2 tackles we have, I would say. But that's not saying much because Panay Sewell's a
The
top
best.
1 or 2 tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the only part where maybe he has a few snaps where Verse wins, and that's to be expected. But I think Panay Sewell shuts down the right side, and the onus is really going to be on Graham Glasgow and Zeitler and Ragnow locking up the interior, especially because I'm sure there's going to be, with a lot of youth, I'm sure they're going to at times need to send extra men to get a push at some points.
Yep.
So expect some corner blitzes, some linebackers going up the A and B gaps, and just trying exotic ways to disrupt Jared Goff and knock him off his rhythm.
Yeah, and I agree. Same thing. This is again just basically building on your point. It's not dispelling it at all. It's the same thing. Without Aaron Donald, we don't have to double team guys or a guy as much. There might be a couple times where somebody's getting in the backfield. We got to adjust and double team somebody. But with that, the Rams are going to have to, like you're saying, they're going to have to send somebody. You're going to have to get some extra guys because we're going to be able to just eat those guys up, essentially. So without sending somebody, I believe we win that line of scrimmage battle, our offensive line against their defensive line, easily.
Well, and then
So,
let's just add in your point there, talking about the loss of Ernest Jones. What is it? Is that his name? The linebacker.
yeah, I believe it was, yes. Ernest Jones, yes. But, I mean,
Yes, Ernest Jones. So anyway, losing him is going to be detrimental in the area of trying to send extra men because Ernest Jones is a really fast guy. He plays fast.
Yep.
And I think one of his talents I remember seeing was that his ability to rush the passer at times from that Mike linebacker spot was something that they valued. But he's moving on, and then like you said, there's a lot of young guys in that linebacker room. This Rams defense doesn't scare me one bit when I look at it anymore. Aaron Donald, when he was on there, it scared me just because Aaron Donald. Looking at it now, I'm honestly wondering how we don't just pick apart their defense with our offense.
I totally agree. What do you? I mean, anything on the DBs? I mean, I don't even know most of their DBs, honestly.
No,
Just
there's not a lot of big names in their defensive backfield. I don't think I need to highlight anyone who's going to be a really big factor if I
they probably got
remember
a lot of
right.
serviceable guys, but maybe not standouts like you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
So
They brought back Darius Williams, who was there a few years ago, and he
mid.
ended up playing. He moved on and played for Jacksonville, I think, and Buffalo at one point. But he's 31 years old. There's not a lot of dangerous guys in that backfield. I'll just say defensive backfield. I'll say that. That's all I really need to talk about the Rams on defense. And I think we kind of already highlighted our offensive line against that.
Yeah, I think that's a winner for us.
Do you have anything to say skill position wise on the Lions offense that anyone you're highlighting or things to look for?
With this, I'm going to say week 1 and possibly even in week 2. I'm not going to look too far ahead, but I am just going to throw that in here as a clump. This right here should be JMO season. This should be, because we said we're probably going to win that offensive line. Goff's going to get some time. Obviously, our running game is gonna do well. I really believe that. But I believe that this is the chance for Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, Jameson Williams to start off building that Jameson Williams confidence and hype. I'm not saying we go to him all the time, but I'm just saying I think there's times where with his speed and the time we're going to have in the backfield and then the amount of time or the people he has guarding him, I think he's going to be able to take the top off this thing, and I think this would be a really good opportunity to start the season strong with his confidence.
I expect the Rams at most of the time to play a lot of zone coverage, just because I think you're going to with Amon-Ra playing primarily slot, you're not going to want to put him one-on-one with a corner. I think they're going to need at some points to have linebackers to help pass him off to, clump up the middle of the field, make sure Jared Goff and Amon-Ra don't live in that area, which we know is where the Lions kind of make their money is in the middle with Laporta and
I
Amon-Ra.
was waiting
So
for you to throw Laporta out there because that's definitely obviously plays into that too.
yeah, so I think, like you said, that it's going to be a nice game for other people to stand out. I think the door is wide open, obviously, for Jamison Williams to do something, but let's see what we do at that number 3 receiver, see who decides to make an impact there. Sorry, excuse me. We know Khalif Raymond is going to get his looks.
Hmm.
He's proven to be a valuable piece in that offense, and he can make some plays. I would expect.
Isaiah,
Well, yeah, but I would expect some guys to be pulled up, a guy to be pulled up from the practice squad, whether it's DPJ, or um, what's it? I'm drawing a
Tim
blank.
Patrick,
Yeah, Tim Patrick. I one of
Allen
those.
Robinson, maybe.
I don't think Allen Robinson is. I think
Okay.
Allen Robinson is going to be a guy that lives on the practice squad until
What?
they need him.
So just while we're on that, we might as well just kind of dissect that for just a second here. What would you prefer at this point? If we are pulling a wide receiver up going into week 1, we know, like we said, we should own them on offense versus their defense. What receiver do you think you want to see, brought up if we do bring one up?
Well, I think there's two things you can discuss there, and I think if Tim Patrick is up to speed and he's digested the playbook enough and shown that he's ready to go, then I think that's the guy you have to go with. Knowing what we've already seen from DPJ all camp, all last year, we know that he wasn't cutting it. So if you've got a guy who you think is ready enough to go, then and you haven't seen what he can do necessarily yet in a live game action, I think you get him out there and get him some touches.
Hmm.
If they don't feel he's ready to go, then it's got to be DPJ. Allen Robinson is not going to be a big name in the Lions
He's
team
a
this
camp
year.
body depth type guy, just in
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
Yeah.
There might be some situations, and we might be shocked what they decide to do week one because we know last year when they spent that pick on Broderick Martin, he was on the active roster, but he spent a majority of the time on the inactive list.
Yep.
So there could be some situations where they do that, healthy scratches with a guy like Isaiah
I was
Williams.
just gonna say that could be Isaiah Williams most of the year, honestly.
But
I mean,
but I don't expect it to be Isaiah Williams because he can contribute on special teams so much. It's going to be Giovanni Manu will probably be a healthy scratch some games, just like Broderick Martin because he's that same kind of project player.
yep.
Um,
Do you think Wingo ends up on that list, or do you think he's an inactive player from the
I
start?
I don't know. I don't think I know enough to
Okay,
predict
I'm just
that.
just throwing that out there. And I know before week one it's so hard, and that's how I'm going to answer the question I actually just asked you on that receiver thing. Um, it's going to be obviously based on what they see in tape, which I know we don't have a whole lot of tape, obviously, but based on what they're seeing, um, if Tim Patrick and DPJ are ready to go, are we looking for a route runner or are we looking for speed? That's how you're going to choose that path. Tim Patrick, obviously, way better route runner than DPJ. It's been proven as well as what DPJ did in camp and preseason. If you need the speed, DPJ's got that, and I think you just go based on that if you're pulling one of those two guys up. So
Yeah. That's I think skill position wise, that's probably all we have to talk about. We know what the run game's going to be. We know Gibbs is we heard Dan Campbell speak today and basically update us and say that they really aren't concerned about anyone injury wise playing this week. The only one he highlighted was Iffy. We know he suffered something in that week 3 preseason game against the Steelers, and we still don't have a timetable on exactly when he could return. Obviously, wasn't added to the pup list to start the year, so they weren't expecting it to be more than or
hoping
around
week
four
three or
weeks, less
earlier.
than
Yeah.
4 weeks.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
One thing bone I got to pick with that is, and I know he's talking, he's answering questions, but I think we were talking at the top of the show before we even started here. But does that mean what does that mean for DJ Reader? Like, obviously, we want to hold our cards to our chest. We don't want to show everything, but like Dan Campbell literally said, the only person we're worried about for week one not being able to go is Iffy. So does that mean DJ Reader's a full go, or I mean, it
there's
sucks because I want to see him
yeah,
out there
there's
so
no
bad.
elaboration there. So the two things you take it as is either they are DJ Reader is healthy and ready to go, which wouldn't shock me because they were gunning for a week 2 return for him anyway.
Some
So
of his cryptic tweets
yeah,
too, but
seeing him get back a week before wouldn't be surprising for me.
yeah,
The other way you could read into that is they're not concerned because they knew he was going to be out anyway, so there was no shock to them that he probably isn't going to be ready to go out
yeah, no
there this
reason
week.
to throw him in there for no reason,
So
basically.
we don't know. We don't need to speculate on that too much. But I think we can jump to the other side of the ball with the matchups, and that'll be the Rams offense against the Lions defense.
Yeah,
I
this
think
is the question mark for me.
I think once again we need to start in the trenches. We have a lot of question marks for the Los Angeles Rams on the offensive front. They currently Rob Havenstein, their number one tackle who plays the right tackle position, is dealing with an ankle injury and is still questionable on whether or not he'll be ready to go.
Jonah Jackson.
Well, no, that's different. I'll get to him. Rob
Okay.
Havenstein is the be all end all to that offensive line. He is their best offensive lineman. They also had their other starting offensive tackle, Alaric Jackson, who was suspended 2 games, so he will not be
Yep.
able to play.
Yep. And that's
Then we've got Jonah Jackson who's coming off injury, and Sean McVay has said that they're looking at him to play center this week.
that is not going to go well. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. I don't foresee that going super well on a brand new team. Not much chemistry. You got both of your tackles are most likely out, maybe limited at least both tackles.
One out, one
Maybe
possibly
limited.
limited.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that for the Rams. I love that for the Lions.
Yeah. So Jonah Jackson, the plan going into the season for them was to move Steve Avila, who was I think he was a rookie last year, out of TCU, if I remember right. I'm not sure, but the plan was for him to move to center, from the guard position he played last year, and man down that spot. But they've kind of come to the realization that they don't want him there, so they're going to move him back to guard, and they're looking to get Jonah Jackson to play some center in week one. Obviously, not a natural position for him. He's played offensive guard his entire career in the NFL so far.
No chemistry with the new quarterback. No, no
Yeah.
chemistry with the offensive line. It's just that hopefully we see some Matthew Stafford fumbles. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so obviously with the injuries, it bodes well for the Lions' chances to get a good pass rush on Matthew Stafford. I think Aiden Hutchinson, especially if Havenstein's out, is going to eat. Regardless of that, whoever ends up lining up across from him should eat as well. I will say, and this is a callback to the 53 man that we got revealed, and we didn't really talk about much. We talked about our predictions, and
Hmm.
I think we can talk about that at the end of the show. Maybe I'll get some bragging time to talk about some of the picks I nailed. But
We're not having a show outside anymore because this guy like soaked up the sun or something. I don't know.
Isaac Ukwu is not on this 53 man. He is on
Boo.
the practice squad. I was shocked to see that.
They must honestly they must have Davenport farther along. They must feel like he's farther along.
Well, no, that's
I feel
fine.
like
I just still think he deserved a spot. Davenport's not going to play outside pass rusher, I don't think. I think he's going to be coming from the inside when they pull out their run packages, and
okay.
I just don't think
Who's
he's.
playing that edge then? Houston.
Well, that's what I think is there's going to be a rotation there, and I don't know who's going to get.
Some Pascal, some Houston.
Davenport will play some on the outside because Pascal's versatile where he plays inside and
Anywhere
outside.
on the line. Yep.
He'll get some snaps out there, but I don't think that's his natural spot. I think James Houston makes more sense, and I thought Ukwu would make sense to roll out in week 1 too, but that didn't happen. So, and maybe he gets pulled up. Who knows? I don't know. But James Houston needs to show out in this game. We've been waiting for it. He needs to have a good game. I think Levi Onwuzurike, it's time for him to show what he can do, what the practice, all the talk and over camp has been about. We need to
Continued
show it.
praises even today from Dan Campbell.
Yeah. So, I honestly, I'm just looking at a lot of these guys on the Lions roster are a defensive front, and I'm just thinking if there's even 1 to 2 missing starters and some kind of question mark on the rotation of that interior line, there's going to be plenty of chances for us to not only rush Matthew Stafford and at least make him throw the ball away or make bad decisions with the ball. There's going to be trouble for the Rams trying to run the football.
So call it. I've got an over under in mind. 4.5 total sacks for the Lions. What do you got? Over under.
I think under.
Okay, I got them at 5. I think they're going to get 5. They're going to get to Stafford.
I think it's very hard for a team to get to 5 sacks in a game. I don't think that happens all that often, no matter how good your rush is. I don't really care about getting the quarterback to the ground as much as I do affecting him.
Just disrupt that play. Yeah.
Yep. So I'll say under.
I think they get to him. I think it's going to be 5. I think they get to him, and it's going to be a loud atmosphere.
Yeah.
They're going to have to be rushing some stuff, too.
If DJ Reader is out there, that run game is going to struggle.
Won't exist.
We'll see how Kyron Williams holds up. We also got more news out of him saying that he's going to be their punt returner this season. So
is that stock up or stock down for him? Do you think in the offense? Do you think they're trying to find different ways to keep him versatile? Do you think
they got stock down for him because
that's okay.
You go to special teams. You don't put your star players in a return situation where they can get pummeled by a speed player flying down and nailing them. You just don't do that. If he goes down, then your backfield is extremely limited. Obviously, they still have Blake Corum back there, but he's a rookie. And I love Blake Corum, but Blake Corum is small for an NFL player. I don't know. We have yet to see how he's going to work against NFL caliber players every week.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. I wonder if he's actually week one starter. Obviously, it'll be Williams, but are they actually like hiding it with Corum? I don't know. I mean, you don't know what they're looking
You
at
think
there.
they're gonna start Corum?
I mean, I just feel like no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think Kyron Williams is their starter still, but I just wonder if with them moving him to punt returner, if they're seeing something that we're not, something that is standing out because Kyron Williams was at least fantasy football. I mean, I didn't really follow the Rams until we played them in the playoffs very much, but at least fantasy football, Kyron Williams was up there. He was a stud last year, so I believe his stats had to be pretty damn good. So I just to put him out there, like you're saying, in special teams to me spells we're trying to find a spot for you. So I don't know. I'm just
No,
throwing it out there.
no, I
So
don't. I don't think that's at all what that means. I think that's just Sean McVay admitting that they don't have a guy they like returning, and Kyron Williams has shown that he's got the
for lack of a better
capability of
person,
doing that. And
okay.
I think he's just thinking, I want to put somebody out there that I'm sure is going to be able to field a punt correctly and maybe make something happen with it. I don't. I just think he's playing with fire a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see the numbers that you got up there. Those look like basically David Montgomery numbers, honestly.
Yeah, he
11
had a good season last
yeah,
year. He was over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns.
average five a carry. So
Yeah, no, he was good for sure. And their offensive line was playing, way better than anyone expected it to last year. I think. Havenstein has always been kind of a pros pro in the NFL, but he was never like an all pro caliber guy, and I think he kind of played at that level last season. Um, Yeah, the offensive line is the biggest problem for Los Angeles, and it should be the biggest thing that helps the Lions deal with the danger that they have at the skill positions, which we'll jump to right now. Obviously, the Lions' biggest question mark right now is how is that secondary going to look? Who are we going to run out there? How are they going to deal with Puka Nakua, Cooper Cup? Just overall, Tutu
not Higby,
Atwell as well. Huh?
not Higby.
Don't. You're,
You got to stir the pot a little bit.
no, you don't. You're acting. Do you remember the?
People know where I
No, 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 no,
stand
no,
on
no.
it. I've made it obvious that I'm not cool with it.
You want to talk about stirring the pot? You're gonna be acting like the kid at training camp who asked Kirby how many ACLs he's taking this
No,
year.
I'm not. I've already made it clear that I was not cool with that.
Yeah. So
Mainly because we almost missed his signature, but
like you said, Higbee as a tight end will not be playing. He is on the pup list to start the year, so we don't have to worry too much there. It's just going to be the danger of the outside in the slot position wherever they line Puka and Cooper up at.
and Tutu Atwell, right?
Yeah, Tutu Atwell's got really good speed. He's just not he hasn't
He's
proven
not
to
a
be a
big threat.
reliable option
Nah.
so far.
Nah. I mean, it's got to make sense that we've got Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold on those two most of the time, right? Because that's obviously what we're trying to do. We're trying to play more man to man, correct? That's who we drafted. That's why we drafted them. That's our goal. Is that what you're seeing? Is that the goal for those two, or is it going to be a pass off?
I don't.
Meat going to get in there quite a bit, or
based on what the Lions have done in the past, and I know we're going in a different route because we're going to do more man-to-man coverage with the guys we have, and the way Aaron Glenn likes to play.
Mm-hmm.
But you just don't, in the past, haven't seen Aaron Glenn opt to have guys follow guys around the field. So I don't think you're going to see Carlton Davis on Cooper Cup the whole game, and we're just going to see him follow him around wherever he goes. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to stay on their side of the field for the most part, and then whoever's because I don't think you're rarely going to see Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua both lined up on the outside on opposite sides. I think you're going to see
get a slot,
one on the outside, one in the slot.
Yep.
And yeah, that'll favor a guy like a Meek. I think he's unquestionably, in my mind, the nickel corner of this defense right now, the starter. We'll probably get to see a little bit of Ennis Rakestraw worked in there when people need breaks. But that should be a big one. I don't know what the plans are with certain guys. I think obviously the safeties.
Brian Branch.
Yeah, the safeties starting will be Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. But with Iffy, most likely, in my opinion, I'm just counting Iffy out. I don't think he's playing this week. Brandon Joseph has a chance to step up and show that the preseason wasn't a fluke, and he was a turnover. He was really good at forcing turnovers there in the preseason. So
Big hitter, big, yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely someone you want on that safety spot. Yeah, I agree. I think, like you're saying, they play sides. I think you are going to see Ennis Rakestraw get in there a couple times when he needs to spell some other guys. But yeah, it is kind of a question at safety without Iffy in there. I'll be honest. I we'll see what happens with Brandon Joseph. Do you think we'll see any of Kendall Vildor? Is that a special teams guy? Are we not Khalil Dorsey?
Kendall
Any of those guys?
Vildor, well, Khalil Dorsey will probably be
Special teams.
exclusively special
Mm-hmm.
teams. I think he'll vie for. He'll be a gunner, of course, but I think he'll vie for a return man spot depending on where they decide to go. There,
I'd be
Isaiah
excited to
Williams will
see that.
be in the conversation for that as well. But no, I think Kindle Vildor is probably just going to be like he was signed to be a depth piece.
Yep.
And similar, I think Rakestraw might get a little more time, but I think Vildor is going to be similar in the aspect that he's just going to come in when we need people to come off the field for a break, or uh, maybe Glenn has certain packages where he values Vildor's skills over someone else's, and he puts him in for a snap or two there.
Probably more zone in my opinion, but I mean that depends on what they're
You know,
scheming up. But
Vildor's actually been more effective when lined up man to man. His zone coverage is when he's a liability.
really, okay, yeah. Is that a lack of speed? I wonder, or what is that? I
I
thought
I
that I
don't
thought he was more of a scheme fit for a
I
zone
don't
guy, but
know what it is. It might just be because when you're in man to man coverage, there's a lot more just reactive and physical play. I
mm-hmm.
think when you're in zone coverage, it requires a lot more of a football IQ because you need to know where
Jumping
you need to
routes
be
and
and where you don't need to be
yeah,
because somebody else is going to be there, so you don't need to cover that part of the field.
gotcha. Okay. So who do you think wins that section, I guess? In their offensive star players against our defensive secondary, our linebackers. Who do you think wins that ultimately? I mean, is that a concern for you? Kind of said we should win the trenches in both sides of the ball. What do you think about our defensive secondary?
Well, I don't think it matters what secondary you're playing. You are not going to shut down Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. We saw that
Yeah,
last year. You just aren't going to shut them down. Your best, I think the Lions' strength is going to be a bend but don't break effect. So
just limit it.
I would
Yep.
expect a lot of field goals from the Rams. Hopefully, that would be the ideal thing. Is you let them eat up the field. Let them eat up all the space in between the 20s. And then when they get down in the 20, lock them down because they don't have as much space to work. Uh, the routes are limited there. The space to work with is limited. So you have to be
Yeah.
more precise down there. If you get a rush down in that area, Matthew Stafford's going to have a lot less time to make a decision and a lot less decisions to be made in terms of who to throw it to.
Yep, like you're saying, just less space. Their speed becomes less of a factor down there, and it just, with those two, Puka Nacua and Cooper Cup being, in my opinion, at this point, even elite route runners. I think that you get down in there, and like you said, they're going to force field goals because they just won't get as much. So
Yeah, I think I'd be satisfied with that secondary because my expectations from last year are so low on what the secondary can do. I think my I'd be happy as long as we escape that game without allowing either of those guys to get to 150 receiving yards.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I was an overall kind of person, and I'm looking at I would be happy if it was two passing touchdowns or less total, and then 300-ish yards or less. I'd be happy. I'd be happy. So
I think everyone would be happy with that, but I do think it's wishful thinking in week
I
1 against an
uh, I
offense
think
like that.
I think because of our defensive line and their offensive line, I think we got a shot. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I think we don't need to talk about this very much, but I think special teams is a factor. Is there any concern? And I think I already know your answer. Is there any concern with Jake Bates heading into Week 1? We know he's had some struggles with consistency.
um, I love Jake Bates, man. I'm excited to see him out there. Is there a concern for essentially a rookie kicker who didn't kick in college? Yes. I'll be honest. I'm ready for him to be our kicker. I don't think there's another guy out there that's better. Um, I think, and I know you're looking stuff up. I said essentially a rookie, just so you know.
I'm not
Um,
looking that up.
Okay. I'm nervous on the short range stuff, honestly, which is complete opposite of last year. I think when it comes to the ones that matter and the ones that are a deep ball kick, I think I'm not worried about those. When it's like 25, 35 yards and it's basically feels like it's for nothing, Jake Bates needs to make sure that he makes those important too.
Yeah,
So.
I was just looking up because I thought I had heard somewhere that the Lions had signed a kicker to their practice squad, but
I think they said they were open to doing so. I don't know that they have
yeah,
yet.
I think it would be smart to add someone to the practice squad just in case. Do something. There's guys out there, Anders Carlson got cut, Greg Joseph got cut. There's guys.
Rob
They might not
Gronkowski.
be any more consistent necessarily than Jake Bates, but they're professionals who have played and kicked. So
You might not have heard that.
I didn't hear
I said Rob Gronkowski. He's been practicing the last couple of Super
you. Yeah,
Bowls.
okay.
Not making them, but anyway.
Um, if you're anyone who's ever bet on that, I'd look down on you immensely because those things are such doctored
Oh
performances
yeah, for
that
sure.
you know that the outcome is always they always know what's gonna happen.
Based on the bets, so they win the most money. Anyway, what do you think? Special teams. You started with Jake Bates. You have any concern with him other than, like you said, might want to add someone? I'm talking week one. Do you have any concerns?
I think you're. I don't think it's concern as much as just I want to know. I want to see him get out there and see what he's got. He's going to be in a dome setting, so it shouldn't be a problem for him. It's a dome that he's kicked in big games in a professional setting already, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem. I'm just hoping that he, you know, does what they need him to do in certain situations, and hoping it makes Dan Campbell's, uh, game
Decision making.
management
Yeah.
style a little bit different to where he doesn't always have to go for it on fourth down when you're, between the 50 and 30-yard line in the opponent's territory.
Yeah, don't change who you are, don't change the culture, but also the added option is nice. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's all that we really need to
Jack
talk about.
Fox, worried about Jack Fox?
No, I don't think we need to talk about
Nope.
anything
um,
there. Do you have any other just I guess keys to the game, or is that kind of what we just talked about? We think we're good on what we just discussed.
yeah, I think like we discussed, just to recap, my biggest key to the game is the offensive line winning. I think if we do that, and our defense holds up, well, I think we've got this one. I will say every single, and we're gonna get to our score predictions, and I'll let you answer that too. But uh, everyone I've seen is another super close, like 21-24, 20-21, 24-23 again. That's what I'm seeing from a lot of like NFL analysts. So I am interested to see what you're going to have there. Um, but to let you answer what I just answered, do you have any other keys to the game or anything you want to highlight going into this one?
No, I don't think I think I've discussed everything. I think the keys, quick hits are the Los Angeles Rams offensive line and the injury slash availability question marks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's also going to be the Rams secondary the Lions secondary, how they hold up against the Rams receivers.
Yep.
And I think my third and final mark would of course just be the the Lions offensive line dealing with the young inexperienced rush of the Rams.
Yeah, make them pay. My last key of the game, right there. The guys and
The
girls
camera?
the guys and girls that will be out there at Ford Field, the new 12th man of the NFL, blow the roof off that damn place. Make that place so freaking loud. This is another playoff game, baby. Every game we play is a playoff game now because we are going as far as we can this year.
I don't think we need to even worry about that.
I'm
I
excited.
was in attendance last year for the Lions home opener against the Seattle Seahawks, and that game it was loud in there, and that was when we just had hype to feed off of.
Hold on a second. You only made it through the first quarter because you got too drunk and they kicked you out.
I literally had one drink.
Exactly.
No, I did get stuck in a line for Little Caesars Pizza that forced me to miss part of the second
Worth it.
half.
Worth it. Worth it.
But
Love those Little Caesars pizzas in the stadiums there.
that was
As
rough.
long as some dude's not spitting on them.
What?
Yeah. Shout out Detroit Tigers. Yeah. And anyways, that was back a while back. Some dude got in trouble for spitting on people's pizzas.
Okay. No, it shouldn't be a problem. I would love to be there again. Who knows? We'll see how. I monitor the ticket prices on Ticketmaster to see how they drop as we get closer. Last time I didn't have a Seahawks Lions ticket until literally probably I don't even know 12 hours before they kicked off.
There's a lot of people. I mean, I know you're hopeful, but there's a little there's a lot of people dragging hitched up to the bandwagon this year. So and you're all welcome. Come on through. Don't care, but I'm just saying tickets are going to be tough to get a good price.
You're not welcome if you're not on the. I'm not on that boat. If you haven't
If
been
you can't
on
get your
this ship
tickets.
before, you're not on it now.
All right, whatever, man. Whatever.
Yeah, I think that's all we need to talk about and preview to the Lions Rams. It should be a good one. Hopefully we start off the year 1-0. I'm expecting us to start off the year 1-0. I could make a bold prediction right now and say I'm expecting the Lions to start the season off 4-0 heading into the bye week.
That's a bold prediction, but it's not unheard of.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I guess with that we'll move off of that a little bit. Like I referenced earlier in the show, I do want to talk a little bit about our 53-man roster predictions that we made last show and how those turned out.
You want to predict the score at the end then, as at closing, or what?
Oh well, we can do that now if you want.
All right. Yeah, let's hear what you got. You got a prediction?
You go first. I'll let you go first.
All right. So I think that, like I said, everybody, NFL analysts that I've seen saying close games in the 20s. I don't think the Rams defense do it. I think my score prediction is 36-27. I think we beat them. They score, 3 touchdowns ish. But I think our offense is just too much. I think we got it.
I want to say Lions 31, Rams 24.
Why you make a face? That's pretty close to mine, but you're making some face like I'm an idiot.
Because I think 36 is a whopping load of points to score in an NFL game.
Top 3 offense in the NFL.
Okay. Well, Zach's a nutcase. Moving on.
We all knew that. And in other news,
talking about the 53-man roster, if I had a horn to pull out, I sure as hell be tooting it because
you've been tooting plenty without the horns. So.
I made some pretty good predictions on our 53-man roster, and they were kind of shockers, I think, to some people, but they came true. So I think
to some people, he says.
They were. I mean, to some people, the research that I put in was from Some I think other people might have rolled their eyes. There was what is it? Lucci's, Mike Lucci's, is that his name?
Yeah, you gotta get yourself in that microphone though.
No, Mike Lucci's was saying he was shocked at some of the ones we picked on X and said it was a good show. But appreciate you for listening, Mike. But
every week
I had the long snapper battle going to Hogan Hatton over Scott Daly, and that happened.
My hat flew off. I was shocked by that, honestly.
Yeah.
I was surprised, but
I had the other big shocker I had was safety Lauren Strickland making the 53-man roster.
Yeah, which again I still question the safety position without Iffy in there, so I just don't know how that'll go. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I was shocked by that one too. So.
Yeah, I think the one, or maybe there were, I think 3 positions that maybe both of us made similar positions that we were all kind of shocked by, and I think we'll start by the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
We are only carrying 2 active quarterbacks currently, and that's Jared Goff and
Hendon Hooker.
Hendon Hooker, and then
that wasn't the shock though.
No, the shock was that we both had Nate Sudfeld making the roster just out of blind loyalty to the man. Uh,
Blackmail,
yeah,
whatever you want to say.
we both had him just making it. We didn't want him to make it, but we had him making it, and they released him, and they didn't bring him back on the practice squad. Instead, they brought back Jake Fromm,
Who played? I mean,
threw 8 passes
I
in
was
the
gonna say
final preseason game.
like maybe two series, I think. And that was it, all preseason. So he must have showed out both in. I know he showed out in the preseason.
Yeah,
what I saw there.
We know what Dan Campbell said about him was that he was just impressed with his ability to pick up the playbook as quick as he did, and he went out and went 6 for 8 on those passes he threw. So.
Just looked absolutely, completely like calm, cool, and collected there. It was awesome. So
yeah. So he's our practice squad
Sudfeld,
guy.
bye.
Probably be our emergency third quarterback should we need that.
Let's not need the second even.
Yeah, I think the other
Tight end.
surprise was tight end.
I knew where you were going.
I battled with this one because I really wanted to put Parker Hesse in there above Shane Zylstra, but I thought Zylstra would have the leg up just because of his history with the team and his professionalism and the way he's gone about, carrying himself. I thought he would have the leg up, but that didn't happen. They actually let go of Zylstra, James Mitchell, McCown, and they brought back Parker Hesse.
Yeah, and I mean, I see what they're doing with Hesse. It makes sense because he's really going to be a tight end 3. But I just felt like with Zylstra, first of all, I just want to get up on my little soapbox here because it pisses me off. I just got done being okay.
Buying a Shane Zylstra.
No, I just got done saying, hey, I'm okay with Shane Zylstra. I was big on him last year before he got hurt. I thought he was going to be big. I think like 2 or 3 episodes ago, I said, but it's okay. Well, he's probably not going to make it. Well, then all indications showed that he made it. Well, guess what? He's caught. Levi Onwuzurike. I said, okay, you know what? I'm okay. Realistically, probably going to be, gone, whatever. Then all of a sudden he shows out and he's on the team. Happy about that. But goodness gracious, man. The roller coaster of emotions. But honestly, what I'm saying is I picked Shane Zylstra because of the wide receiver struggles. I thought we were going to get somebody that was more of a pass-catching tight end, and Zylstra was that guy over Parker Hesse, honestly. However, as far as blocking and just durability and availability in different situations, Hesse was the better choice there.
And Hesse's also very versatile. I think
that's what I'm saying.
Fullback possibility too there.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying as far as availability.
We do know Zylstra and Mitchell both got signed back to the practice squad though, so they're both still with the Lions.
Most likely they'll stay there. I don't think anybody else is going to pick them up. No offense to them, but I just don't think so.
I think there was one more position that I wanted to highlight in terms of a.
Sorry, I'm boring you.
Yeah, sorry, you are too. I don't remember. There was another one that I was just.
We touched on Ukwu.
Oh well, I already said. I think those were the 2 main ones that I was shocked about. Were the quarterback and the tight end. I think we both. I don't remember what you said, but I think we both kind of nailed the wide receiver thing. I had them only carrying 4 wide receivers, and it's the 4 that they kept.
Yeah, that's the only horn I can really toot. I said that we would only take 50. We would only keep 52, and we'd end up getting a wide receiver at that 53 spot. They weren't on the roster yet, and I think that's essentially what we did with Tim Patrick. I think, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So
this is the one that I was talking about as well, was the running back room.
Oh yeah, Craig Craig. Yeah, we kept him, but
we both had, we had some different thoughts on this. I think you had them keeping Craig Reynolds, right, as a 4th running back.
I had them keeping 3 running backs and then taking that receiver as another spot.
Yeah, so I had them keeping Jamar Jefferson. I thought he would stay there. They did not end up doing that. They cut him, and he was added back to the practice squad, but they let Jake Funk go. I think that wasn't a surprise. They let Zonovan Knight go. I don't think that was a surprise necessarily, maybe to some people. But Craig Reynolds.
Same thing I said last week, Brendan. I think it was more of the locker room presence. They think they've got what they need at running back. I think Craig Reynolds is locker room presence, and that's what they kept him for.
Well, that's fine. I I'm not disappointed that they kept Craig Reynolds. I think they could have gotten more production out of other guys, but I'm not gonna like sit here and moan and groan about Craig Reynolds being on the
Yeah,
roster.
yeah. I will say, to your credit, I do believe, honestly, at this point, as far as age and ability, I do think Jamar Jefferson is the better productive person, and I wish we could find a way to make him stick because he is a talent. But yeah, I really think that's what that was just veteran presence and locker room presence.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the funniest things I'm just looking at like what I had in terms of my predictions, and I think I only missed on 4 guys overall.
yeah, it's pretty good. I can't. I'm not gonna go back and look at mine. I didn't.
Yeah, I lost. I mean, I had Isaac Ukwu making it, so that was a miss. And I also had the Zylstra, Jamar Jefferson, and Nate Sudfeld thing. But other than that, I think I hit every other player.
That's actually kind of crazy, man. If you think about it, I mean, the long snapper, who gets that right when it's when it's a change from somebody we've had? It's just that's pretty good. I will give you that.
There were a
But you
lot.
still suck.
There were a lot of upset people because Matthew Betts got cut, the CFL star. We know he
I knew
signed
that was
right back
coming.
with his former team in the
Yeah,
Canadian Football League, and he's already got a sack.
I knew that was coming. I had him off of there. I think you did too, right? I mean, obviously
Yeah,
you
I
just
thought
said,
maybe
but
they'd bring him back to the practice squad, but I honestly think
he
maybe they.
probably makes more over
Well,
there.
that's what I'm saying is I think they probably offered him a spot on the practice squad, but my thoughts are he said he has a chance to go play professional football somewhere else and actually start, so he's gonna go do that.
Yeah, I mean, for the love of the game, honestly. I mean, I do think he probably gets paid more over there, but I think part of it, like you said, he's going to start. I think it's just for love of the game. So
Yeah. So that's all we need to talk about 53-man roster wise. I think one of the last things we need to talk about this show, we had college football kickoff this weekend, and maybe we don't want to talk about this on the show because of how disappointing it was both for Michigan and Michigan
I
State.
was just going to say, finally, one thing Michigan and Michigan State fans can agree on: they both need help.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad both ways. So
So we had obviously we'll start on Michigan. We're both Michigan fans, so we're going to talk about them probably more than Michigan State just because. But
in
oh,
today's news,
we knew what the
Will
defense
Johnson
was.
is him.
Yeah, we knew what the defense was, and we saw them perform the way they should.
Mason Graham did great.
Yeah, they had good rush off the edge. Josiah Stewart showed up off the edge, and
Hmm.
um, you know, Kenneth Grant is just a big man, a huge dude. Um, Will Johnson, you said I saw Will Johnson getting a lot of unwarranted hate on X, and I don't understand it considering the fact he looked really good out there. He had one, maybe 2 plays where he, he got burnt a little bit, but other than that, like, yes, he allowed a catch on a route he attempted to jump, but he had his hands on that ball.
Yeah, it
If
could
it
have
would
been
have
a pick
stuck the
six.
right way, he had another interception. And then there was another one where he essentially had the ball like right here, and he had his hand on it, and it just went out of bounds. It flew out. That he could have had 3 interceptions in that game, and he stepped up in the biggest moment, returned that pick six to
I will
seal the game.
say the one knock that I have, and you even said it when we're talking Lions Rams, like nobody's gonna have a shutdown game. It's very rare, 100%. Uh, Will Johnson got a double move put on him. It would have been a touchdown if the quarterback would have thrown it. That was the one bad play. That was bad on Will Johnson. But other than that, like you said, almost had 3 picks. Really, realistically, could have had 3 pick sixes in that game just based on the ones that he could have had. So
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think we don't need to talk about the defense. We need to talk about the offense. How bad that was. That was pitiful. They made the shocking move to start Davis Warren at quarterback, and
shocking to some, a little
well,
shocking to me, but
we talked about this, and I said they had mentioned that he was playing really well, and that there was a chance that he could push Orgy for that job, but I didn't think it would happen so soon in game one that they would call him the starter. I in my mind going into Texas, I've seen enough out of Davis Warren. We cannot play like that against Texas if you're going to win a football game against a top 5 team in the nation.
No, and another level to this. We are deeper at wide receiver. I do know that this year we're deeper at wide receiver as far as talent, equal talent. We had one or two standouts last year. Colson Loveland is him on offense. He's the guy. But when you've got two quarterbacks and both of them struggle to throw the ball, obviously they both struggle to throw the ball. I'm going to say that. Michigan is a run first team and always has been. Why not get the dynamic guy out there and have him be the starter? Why not get the guy that can run the ball? And if we're going to talk about running the ball, Donovan Edwards, where the hell were you at? Bro, like we almost have to play every game as if it's like Ohio State for Donovan Edwards to show up. I love Donovan Edwards. I think he's a great player. I think he's a stud. I think he could be a really good NFL player, but he needs to show up in games that don't matter as much. Where were you at? Mullings just completely showed you up.
Yeah,
Running back one.
yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. The other thing I'm going to say at quarterback is does there come a time, and maybe it's after this week if we get pummeled, does there come a time where there's a wake up call where we say Orgy and Warren are not cutting it either way? Then we have another guy, Jaden Davis, who we just got. He's a freshman. Why not give the kid a chance?
Because we don't like to do that with freshmen. I mean, we
That's
just
I
don't like
understand
to.
that you want to give guys a redshirt year to get them going, and then bring them along a little bit more. But
C.J. Stroud was a rookie last year. Look what he did in the
but
NFL.
yeah, if you're getting pummeled by teams, you're
You
a
got to do
national
something.
championship defender. You will not make the college football playoff with more than 2 losses. I don't think that's possible this year.
No, it's going to be, and the way they played against Fresno State, it is going to be tough to not end up with more than two losses if they play like that all year. It's going to be tough to,
Yeah.
honestly, with the schedule we have in the Big Ten play, it's going to be tough to be bowl eligible if they play the way they did against Fresno State.
We've got a lot of really good teams. You got Texas coming up. You've got USC who just upset LSU. We've got Oregon down the pipe. We've got Nebraska. Do we play Nebraska this year? I don't think we do
I don't
actually.
think so. But we've got obviously Ohio State.
Yep, Ohio State's another big one, of course.
We got Penn State, I believe. I mean, there's, it's just, I mean, it's gonna be a gauntlet. That's just
Yeah,
how it is.
and a lot of that, like we're gonna be playing a lot of home games to start off the year. We start off with 5 straight home games.
But
But then we go into a critical stretch of having to go to Washington and then to Illinois.
Washington is cheeks, though.
I
They're not
I
good.
understand that, but traveling to Washington is not going to be fun. Illinois, we
That's always a game we get. That's always a sneaky
yeah.
trap game.
Then we got Northwestern and Indiana in there too, Michigan State, and we'll touch on Michigan State here in a second. But you go ahead and say what you're going to say.
I was actually going to say, let's go ahead and digress and go into Michigan State, so it doesn't look like we're just glazing all over Michigan
Yeah,
here.
Michigan State. Oh man, so I've got to put on a hat of unbiased and try not to be too critical because, oh my gosh, Aiden Childs, you made yourself look like an idiot, man. He
Bet
did.
the over.
Yeah, please never do that again. That guy said bet the over in terms of like, what they were gonna do against who'd they play again?
FAU.
Yeah,
Florida Atlantic.
FAU.
Yeah.
And you guys put up 16 points. It was so embarrassing. That whole game was just rough, and Michigan game was rough. They were both rough. But oh man, scoring 16 points against FAU is not gonna do it.
Yeah, it was an ugly game. Unbiased, to being honest, quarterback play was obviously a first collegiate game, and you could tell. It just is what it is, and that's kind of what I'm saying. If we you said Jaden Davis, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we end up putting him in there, that's probably what you're going to see the first game. So we should have done it first game. But anyway, with Michigan State, those his accuracy is bad, to be honest. He might have been rattled, might have been a first game. Their defense is rough if they get a quarterback that can scramble and run. Shout out Alex Orji. Uh, the one thing I want to throw out there, because I don't have a whole lot to say about Michigan State, because again, we are Michigan fans. I want to ask anybody who is a Michigan State fan. This is not hating. I'm seriously trying to understand this. What is the um, like tribal stuff on your uniforms. Like again, this is gonna sound like I'm hating. I'm trying to understand what is it. I asked you during the game. What is it? I don't understand it. So
It's got to
somebody
be
somebody get in the
something relating
comments.
to like Spartan era,
And
like
I'm just
Trojan
and
type
I'm just
stuff.
not up on it. So I just like in order to enjoy the uniform a little better, I would like for somebody to let me know what that means. I don't
Yeah.
know what I don't get it, but
The positive spot for Michigan State was they were effective on defense in terms of forcing turnovers. They really think that was their saving grace there in the first
yes.
half was that they were just disrupting things and picking balls off even when one of their leaders went out after a targeting call. So that's props to them. The defense looked good, and you held them to 10 points, which is fine. The offense, like Michigan, is where the concern is at right now. Eden Childs was touted as this guy that was going to lead them back to a new era of greatness, and that
Could still
game
happen.
it could still happen. I'm not knocking the kid. He's played one game,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got to play a lot better than he did in that
Right. The
game.
sample size we have is not good.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think the thing that benefits them is that in terms of huge games, they've got a little bit of time to develop. They do have Maryland next week, and we know Maryland plays tough, but
lost their starting quarterback.
yeah, you shouldn't lose to Maryland. You got Prairie View in week 3, and then Boston College in week 4. Those should all be winnable games, and then you take on Ohio State,
And then Oregon,
and then Oregon, and then
Iowa, and
Iowa, and
Michigan.
then Michigan, and that's the gauntlet right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Um, so one thing I do want to give Michigan State credit for that nobody else is. Everybody's actually discrediting this. Um, I'll say Michigan and Michigan State both in that first game, and it is a first game with a lot of new players on both teams. Um, the discipline was bad for both of them. I will say that. But anybody saying Michigan State plays dirty, they had a couple targeting hits. Yes. I didn't see anything dirty. So people saying Michigan State plays dirty, maybe it's here and there, but I'll give you guys credit. I think you guys played on defense a hell of a physical game. A couple targeting things, but that was guys just not being dirty. That was guys playing hard, and I just want to dispel that narrative because I just really feel like Michigan State played really well and really hard on defense, and I think I disagree with they played dirty, and usually I agree with that, but yeah, I think they played a very good defensive game.
All right. Well, there you have it. We are not Michigan State haters all the time. We are capable of taking that hat off.
Yeah, as hard as it may be.
So yeah. So I think that's all we need to talk about. Unless you have any some other happenings that you want to discuss.
No, really, the only thing I want to say is next week, bear with us. Obviously, the Lions playing late on a Sunday night is going to be difficult for us to get that 10 a.m. Monday schedule out there, obviously, because of our schedule this weekend
Yeah.
and
We probably won't be recording until
midweek.
early in the week
Yep.
or something, and it's all going to depend on. Obviously, my job requires me to be covering high school sports at night, so I'm not going to be. I'm working when he's not, and vice versa.
Yep.
So
And that's why we don't go live yet because we want, I mean, obviously you can always look back at it, but we like this because it gives us time to regroup and get you something good. And then, at your leisure, it's there and available for you.
yeah,
Yeah, that's really all I got. 1-0, baby. It's coming.
let's go kill the Rams. Let's put the taxidermied head of
I,
their
I don't care.
mascot on our wall.
I don't want you guys to boo kids. I don't like that. But if you could boo Kelly Stafford super loud, I would absolutely love you guys for that. So go ahead and
Yeah.
do that.
Feel
Kelly
free
Stafford
feel
can
free
get
to
booed
bring
out of that
your
place.
rotted tomatoes and
Yeah, just don't hit the kids.
don't hit the kids.
I'm not for the kids.
Kelly
but-
Stafford's fair game, not the kids
Yep,
though.
she gone. She gone. Okay. What else you got?
That's it. I think let's go Lions. I want them to win. Let's destroy the Rams and make Matthew Stafford's homecoming spoiled twice in a row.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
We're halfway done with the basement down here. We've got the projector screen up. It's going to be a fun game, and we're going to
And we're
going
looking
to be
into
loud here.
we're looking into getting some Auntie Anne's stadium.
Yes,
Snack
yes,
Stadium.
for sure.
Shout out Whitney for pointing us in that. That thing looks incredible. A little snack stadium with different bits of pretzels, and it sounds like she just kept hers and fills it with different things.
Yep, and I'll be completely honest with you. I'm going to have him pay for it because I looked at the price and it's like $50. So he's going to buy the first one, and then I will pay to
Or we
fill it
could
every time.
literally just split the cost.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. But shout out Whitney,
That
thanks for
sounds
that.
crazy.
Thanks for that, and we definitely, we'll get 5 of those when we have the Super Bowl going on too. So
5 of those.
heck yeah, I'm
Are you
inviting
paying for
anybody
that
that
then?
ever cheered for the Lions
He
down
won't
here,
pay for
man.
one $50 one, but he's got no problem paying for 5.
If we go to the Super Bowl, I don't care what I'm paying for. It's gonna be lit down
All
here.
right, we're done talking about the price of snacks. Let's get out of here. Lions beat the Rams. Let's go. Go Lions.
Go Lions, baby.